Okay, for my second video here, I'm going to actually start getting into the meat of the bone, and the first topic I want to cover is something that should be still fresh in everyone's mind because it was just reported on finally by some of our establishment media outlets recently, which people like ourselves we've been trying to explain this to others for years now because the people that actually search out the information online or from different alternative sources, you can be privy to this kind of information long before the media does, the establishment media. And even if the establishment media is privy to the information, it doesn't mean that they're going to report it. You got to remember that the media, it's not conspiratorial. Some of them, there might be some underlying reasoning behind that that is truly corrupt. But for the most part, people in media want to present their side of the story. That's what they do. That's otherwise news goes back to the days when I was growing up, when they just report the story and they move on. But as you know, the way the media works now is you tell the story, the base facts, which for the most part, when they're starting to actually discuss the story, there's only like AP Reuters. There's a few actual investigative journalist outlets that actually do the actual reporting. But the establishment media then takes that, will report the facts or the presumptions of facts that are laid out in the original report. But then, as you know, media personalities, pundits, politicians, so-called experts, they jump into the fray and offer up their opinions, which, anyone watching knows, it always comes down to, they might have 3 or 4 people, but the actual discussion or the debate is very narrow in scope. They don't ever step outside of the accepted bounds of political speak. They will never actually tell you the truth. But this is the thing about, and this is how propaganda works. It's not that they lie, blatantly outright lie. That's why some people will turn off some of the alternative media outlets, because I'll even admit myself, some of them, they try to make things too sensationalized or too conspiratorial in nature, which we all know that not everything's a conspiracy. Jesus Christ, that's foolishness. They're just people, and people have subjective opinions, and people have preferences, and people have political leanings, and they have relationships with certain people that, their opinions and even their expertise. Look at a lot of the professionals or experts you see in media. They come from academia. These are people that predominantly, a lot of them, especially if you've made it to the point where you're the expert, the go-to expert, you're as big of a status as you can possibly get. Your parents were probably of maybe some kind of aristocratic type class, or had connectivity with some people in higher positions. Not to mention you were raised in an environment when you went to public schools, government funded, government education, and when you move on to post-secondary and you get into academia, it's the same thing. Doesn't matter if it's a private school or the curriculum. Well, there are some slight tweaks with some of the but for the most part, the curriculum is all government propaganda for the most part. It's what they want you to know. It's what the government wants you to believe. Every country, North Korea, China, India, some of these Middle Eastern countries, Canada, the U.S., we're all told, when we're growing up, we're all, we're the best, we're the most democratic, we're the freest, we have this, we have that. It's not true, obviously. We all know it's obviously not true. When you look around, your rights are so limited now that to even pretend anymore is almost laughable. Anyways, back to the point. My major concern here was with this reporting from the media, the CBC, which is Canada's taxpayer funded national news outlet. Anyway, they finally, I think a lot of them are starting to realize that if they don't come around, they're losing the trust of the citizenry, and their bottom line and their to remain relevant matters to them. So they're at least trying to report some of the truth. But for the most part, it's because CBC leans more to the left politically, and with the conservative government, well, I mean, they have even more of an incentive to tell the truth. Whereas if it's, like a liberal, if Justin Trudeau comes into power, CBC will all of a sudden have a lot more kid gloves. They'll put the kid gloves on for him. Anyways, back to what I'm trying to say. In this reporting by the CBC, this was last week, it says, now let me read this. But the latest top secret documents released to CBC News and The Intercept illustrate the development of a large stockpile of Canadian cyber spy capabilities that go beyond hacking for intelligence, including destroying infrastructure. There you get that, destroying infrastructure. That's, this is just unbelievable that the spy agencies here in Canada have the ability to destroy infrastructure. Now, this is all done under the radar. It's not like we were ever told this. The only reason why we know any of this stuff was because of Edward Snowden. And CBC or no one else would have reported any of this stuff if it wasn't for the pressure. And as you can see, this comes from Glenn Greenwald from The Intercept, which has been, I mean, he's a great guy. He's been pressuring all the media. That's basically telling them, if you don't report it, we'll do it ourselves. And they have now the Intercept as an alternative source where people can get their news whether the mainstream wants to report or not. So I suppose they feel they have to oblige the people. Anyways, okay, like I said, so we got, which could include electricity, transportation, or banking systems. And now here's the best part. I remember years ago when I first started getting a little more active on this stuff, because I've seen some really crazy stuff going on, but it was quite prevalent to see a lot of people, especially when Ron Paul was running for president in 2008 and 2012. A lot of people would talk about false flag operations. And me, I mean, even myself, which someone that, I realize there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on in this world. But even myself, I said, some of these guys seem to go a little bit too far. I mean, false flags, a government, politicians, spy agencies, police, they're going to actually kill or create havoc and destruction on their own soil or in their own infrastructure or to their own people just to make it look like someone else did it so that they could go in and act like the saviors to their own mess. I said, oh, okay. Even myself, I'll admit, although I don't like to use the word conspiracy theorist or tinfoil hat wearer, I thought, yeah, some of these people are a little bit out to lunch. But as with anyone, that's your first reaction, right? And it seems like a pretty common, natural reaction because no one wants to believe these kinds of outrageous things that some people put forward, especially on the internet. I mean, we all know that some strange people out there. But it turns out, if you actually do some actual research, if you actually delve into what they tell you, you can see that it's not the conspiracy theories or even the CIA, even governments from the past. This has been proven to be real. I mean, there's been the Gulf of Tonkin incidents. I mean, I could go through if I wanted to go through and look through some of the ones, but you guys all mostly know what I'm talking about. Anyways, false flags are a real thing. This really happens. Our countries do it. Other countries do it. Governments, I should say. And I don't say our government. It's not my government, but they do these things. What is it? Break your leg and offer you a crutch. That's a government. You got to create a problem and act like the savior to come to fix it. But then again, that's how the system works. So here we are. CBC News in 2015 finally is reporting creating unrest by using false flags, i.e., making a target think another country conducted the operation. I mean, it's right there. These are the documents that that Snowden took from the NSA, which, as we all know, is part of the Five Eyes, predominantly the Canada, U.S., Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. You know, all the predominantly Anglo-Saxon countries. Or the Five Eyes, they call themselves. They are creating a network where they can, it doesn't matter which country it is, they can create scenarios so that no matter what the unrest is, no matter what the people learn, the information they come to realize and they start to recognize that, yeah, things aren't right. Well, they just create these false flag type events to make it look like, oh no, it was Russia, or, you know, oh, the Chinese, or whatever, you know, whatever boogeyman, ISIS, the terrorists, whatever boogeyman they choose to make it look like they're the ones that's the true threat, and here comes the government. Look, we're going to protect you from them big bad boogeyman, which we know is not true at all. I mean, I'm 45 years old. I've lived in Canada my whole life. You know, I've lived in multiple provinces, East Coast, West Coast, and everywhere in between. Never been worried about terrorists bothering me, ever. Never. In my 45 years of life, never, ever, ever worried about some terrorist going to attack me or kill me or take away my rights of freedom. Government, on the other hand, yeah, personal life, growing up, everybody, and seeing external realities and family and friends. Yeah, I've seen the government destroy a lot of people's lives on many occasions. Many occasions. Always at the hands of the person that says they're going to be your savior. Anyways, I'm going to try to wrap this video up because I'm trying to keep these videos at least under 15 minutes for a while. Anyways, that was, to me, my biggest thing was to talk about these false flags. I mean, there are other techniques. If you go on to the CBC website, you scroll back to March 23rd, and you'll see the actual article. The headline is the Communications Security Establishment. Oh, wait. Having a problem here with the loading. Okay. Communications Security Establishment Cyber Warfare Toolbox revealed. CBC News on the 23rd of this month. If you want to go and look at it, you'll see for yourself. Read the entire article. You'll find it's quite disturbing, but at least we're starting to see some of these medias report on these things so that we can point out to our friends or family members that, see, I mean, you don't want to take my word for it because I'm just a nobody, right, I guess. But hey, look, your gods in the media are even telling you. They're even explaining to you that, hey, I was right all along. So, you know, if you have to, pass that on to your friends and family, show it to them. So, I mean, if they want to call someone a liar, they can call up CBC and call them the liar from now on. But actually, I think what people are going to start to recognize is that, geez, these guys are actually telling the truth, and maybe I should listen to them a little bit more often. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And I'm going to get right away here soon to making my next video. I look forward to it. Have yourself a great day. Take it easy, Canadian Libertarian. I'm out.